Hey everybody, Jamie here. Today we're going to learn how to fill out the Promise Scholarship application. So they actually have a nice tutorial here that I want to show you. So I'm going to let them take it away. But it's time to fill out your Promise Scholarship application.
Welcome to the Promise Scholarship application and West Virginia Student Aid Management tutorial provided by the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission. This tutorial will demonstrate how to submit a Promise application, how to edit or check the status of a Promise application, and how to reset your password for the West Virginia SAM system. For all information related to the Promise Scholarship, visit cfwv.com/promise or visit cfwv.com and click Financial Aid Planning and then Scholarships. From the Promise home screen, you can find a link to the West Virginia Student Aid Management System, also Promise resources related to the Promise Scholarship, including eligibility requirements, the Promise application checklist, which we will cover later in the tutorial, and forms, including the grade report form that some students may need to submit for their Promise application to be complete. So to begin the Promise Scholarship application, you'll want to click on the brownish orange button in the middle of the screen, West Virginia SAM. This will take you to the West Virginia SAM home screen. To create an account, you will click on the line labeled "Click here" if you do not have an account. This will take you to the account registration for the West Virginia SAM system. Here you will need to answer the required questions to create an account, and you will also need to create a username and password. Please choose something that you can easily remember. You will need this to be able to log in to submit a Promise application and to later check the status of your Promise Scholarship application. The account registration requires you to submit several fields, including your date of birth, first name, last name, phone number. You'll also need to select a security question in case you do forget your password. You'll be prompted to answer this question in the format that you have provided to be able to reset your password. Please remember that all the fields are case sensitive, including the answer to your security question, and your password and your username. You'll also need to provide your email and your Social Security number. Your Social Security number will be used to match with your FAFSA and to determine if you are eligible and later to determine your award amount. It's very important that this information is correct. Once you have entered all the fields and you're comfortable that they are correct, please click Create Account. If you have successfully created your account, you'll be taken to this screen. You'll need to click on the link to proceed to the Promise Scholarship application page. This will take you back to the West Virginia SAM account login screen. Here, you will need to enter your username and your password that you just created to enter the system. Please remember the fields are case sensitive. You will need to agree to the terms of use for the West Virginia SAM system to be able to proceed to the Promise application. You can do so by clicking I agree and then clicking the Submit button. This will take you to the first page of the Promise Scholarship application. Here you will see that several of the fields are grayed out. This information is pulled from the account registration form that you just filled out. You will not be able to edit or change this information at this time, but you can later log back in and edit the information. And we will go over that in a few slides. Here you will also be prompted to enter additional information, including your address and your cell phone number if you would like us to be able to contact you. Also, you'll need to answer questions about your residency and citizenship. After you are finished answering the questions, click Next. This will take you to the second page of the Promise application. Here you will be asked to provide information regarding your high school status. Please choose the applicant status that most suits you. You can see most students will choose high school diploma if they're attending a West Virginia public or private high school. The other options are GED recipient homeschooled, GED recipient non-homeschooled, eligible commuter, military dependent, and current or previous member of the armed services. Depending on which status you choose, your questions may be different below. You need to check the two fields that you are aware that you need to file a 2014-15 FAFSA no later than Saturday, March 1st, 2014 to qualify. This is required of all students, and you must submit your FAFSA to be considered on time. There's also a link to the Promise Scholarship requirements page. You can see this at the cfwv.com website. You may be required to submit any additional documentation, and you must check that you are aware of that to be able to proceed. If you're happy with the information that you have provided, you can then click on Submit Promise Application. If you'd like to go back and change any information, you can click Previous and do so. If you have successfully submitted your Promise Scholarship application, you will see this screen. You'll need to make sure that you print, email, or write down your confirmation code. You can print or email your confirmation code by clicking the icons circled on the screen. Your confirmation page will be used in case of any technical errors regarding your Promise Scholarship application submittal. Depending on the status you chose, different information will be provided on your confirmation page, including any additional information that may be required to process your Promise Scholarship application. If you have questions about additional documentation that must be provided, you can go back to the CFWV website and click on the Promise Scholarship application checklist. This shows, depending on your applicant's status, what additional information must be provided. Please be careful when reading, as some information is not required of all applicants. Now we will go over how to edit and to check the status of your Promise Scholarship application. You'll need to go back to the West Virginia SAM System login page and enter your username and password. Once you are logged in, you'll be taken to this screen. Here you can edit your Promise application. To do so, click Edit. Then you will be able to change any of the information on your application. Once you have made the changes, be sure to click Update. If you do not click Update, your changes will not be saved. To check the status of your application, on the drop-down screen beside Promise, you'll click Application Status. That will take you to this page. Here, you can review what information we have on file for you to process your application. Eligibility will not be determined until April, but you can see what information we currently have on file. Yes and OK indicate we have qualifying information on file for the eligibility criteria listed. Any other status indicates missing information or you are not eligible based on the information we currently have on file. If you feel the information listed is incorrect or incomplete, please contact our office. If you would like more information on the specific eligibility criteria listed, click the Application Status Help link, and it will bring up a page with more detailed information on the individual fields. Change any information regarding your West Virginia SAM account. You'll click the drop-down box beside Account Information titled User Administration. Here you'll be able to edit fields like your first name, last name, phone number, email, social security number, and date of birth. You will not be able to edit the fields that are grayed out. You can change your password from the screen. To do so, click the Change Password button. This will prompt you to provide your current password and create your new password and confirm your new password, and then you can click Change Password to complete. If you forget your password when trying to log in to the West Virginia SAM system, you'll need to click the link, click here if you forget your password. Here you will be required to enter your username and select your security question, answer the security question, and create a new password. Please remember that the username and your security question answer are case sensitive. After you've done so, you'll click the Send Request button, and your password will be changed. For more information regarding the Promise Scholarship, you can visit cfwv.com/promise, or you can contact our office. The information is listed below.
Okay, guys, she went over actually how to fill out the application, and then there's some other things that I really want you to make sure that you know about. First of all, I want you to understand that she stated the deadline was March 1st. And remember, she said the FAFSA needed to be received to the state of West Virginia by March 1st. And I'd said in a previous PowerPoint that I did that you should be finished and submitted by February 15th. And I still stand by that because, like I say, if there's an issue or whatever, you really want to make sure that you can get it taken care of before March 1st. So we know that we've got a March 1st deadline. Now, if you scroll down through here, you will see that the second requirement is that you have to file the FAFSA, and we know that, and that you have to live in West Virginia. Now, I wanted to point this out about your academic requirements. You actually get to go through the 8th semester of grades, so you will realize that if you qualify on the 7th semester, you still have to keep your grade point average through the 8th semester. And if you don't have your grades to qualify for Promise by the end of the 7th semester, you can go through the 8th semester, but it's going to be your responsibility to have the high school guidance counselor send in your final updated transcript with your grades. So you do get the benefit of going all the way through June for both your GPA, core, and or cumulative overall, and your standardized test scores. Okay? Now, your minimum test scores are here. You have to have an ACT of 22 and a composite of 20 in all the subscores. The writing section doesn't count, and that is on one single test. So no, you cannot superscore it. And then for the SAT, you have to have a combined minimum 480 in math, 490 in critical reading, and those are the minimums. But the combined total of those two, which you add together, has to be a 1020. So one or the other has got to be higher than the minimum. Now, to be honest with you, I think it's so much easier to qualify for the Promise Scholarship on the SAT instead of the ACT, because the ACT invariably those subscores fluctuate, and when you divide back by 4, it's really hard to make that composite come up. But it's not on the SAT. So a lot of my kids qualify for the Promise Scholarship based on that SAT. So if you're one of those students that's banged your head against the wall for an ACT, just stop and try the SAT and see how you do on that. So you'll see here the last dates to qualify for the Promise Scholarship this year are going to be June 7th for the SAT and June 14th for the ACT. And remember, the writing section for both of the tests does not come into play. And I have quite a few homeschooled students, so if you're homeschooled, yes, you can still qualify for the Promise Scholarship. You actually have to take the GED, which I don't really get that, but that's the way the legislation's written. Because to me, if you can get your scores for the SAT or the ACT, that should take care of that requirement, but you do have to take the GED. And so your homeschool kids, remember that you have to do that. And then you've got the military dependence school, codes if you do that. So you've got a few things there that you want to do. Then I wanted to remind you how the GPA is. You have 2 GPA requirements, as you'll see right here. You have the core classes, and then you have your cumulative GPA. So you have, for your cumulative GPA, it will be every class that you've had in high school, and then you have to have a 3.0, and you do get the benefit of weighted grades. And then you have to have a 3.0 in your core, so your English, math, your science, history. And here's a list of all of the core classes that they accept. And dual credit courses do count in the overall and core GPA. Okay, so here's all of your core classes. So you have to have a 3.0 cumulative, and then you have to have a 3.0 in all of your core, which is sometimes where it gets kids all balled up. So remember, you have to have cumulative GPA of 3.0, core GPA of 3.0, ACT or SAT with qualifying scores, and you have to file the FAFSA form by March 1st and the Promise Scholarship application by March 1st. That's what you have to do as a freshman to trigger your Promise Scholarship. And remember, if you're going out of state, I highly suggest that you go ahead and qualify for your Promise Scholarship, because you can go out of state for 1 year and come back and keep your Promise Scholarship. So just to look over your program renewal requirements, so you have to continue to be full-time. You have to have a 2.75 your first year, and then after that you have to have a 3.0, and you have to have 30 hours of credit in every 12 months. And I'm going to tell you all what, it is really difficult if you get a GPA down 2.75 to start bringing it back up. So if I were you, I would just get in my head, I just always needed to maintain a 3.0. And then if you drop some of your classes, you may have to go to school during summer school. And the bad thing is when you go to school during summer school to make up hours, then Promise Scholarship doesn't qualify to pay for that. So you have to pay for your summer school. So it really pays if you get scholarship money when you go to school to make good grades, even more so than in high school. Because you understand at a collegiate level, there's no honors classes, there's no weighted grades, there's no fluffy homework to keep your GPA pumped up. I mean, it's going to be midterms and finals and papers, and so it's really even more so important that you do it. And this is where it's talking about, that if it's a summer school, they have to approve it, and then your credits get included in your GPA. So that was the one thing that I wanted you to note about that. They actually did a pretty good job of, walking you through the form, which is what I wanted you to do. Remember, most of the high schools are pulling the kids out of class, taking them to the computer lab and having them fill them out. I cannot impose upon you enough how important it is that you make sure you get a copy of the confirmation. There you have it. That's how you do the Promise Scholarship in the state of West Virginia. Thank you.